Hello, Darth Vegan here, and we are back with another episode of Mothership by Tuesday Night Games. Mothership is a sci-fi horror TTRPG. It does contain some scary moments and other adult themes, so be forewarned. Hello, Darth Vegan here, back with another episode of Mothership, the solo TTRPG playthrough. Today we are continuing the Hell Train module. It is a combination of homebrew module in addition to some modules from the Hull Breach compendium for Mothership as well. I hope you have enjoyed the series so far, and we are going to continue the story of Devon Valentine and Cade Zachary. At the end of the last episode, we had just finished taking care of the Dustfly problem that was in the Aria Cerberus Mine. And Devon was busy helping to load the extracted minerals onto the train. While he was doing so, there was a loud commotion from the mine, kind of a sound like a cave-in or some rocks falling or something. And at first Devon thought, wow, they're already getting started mining again. They're, that foreman, he's a real harsh taskmaster there. But then he starts to hear screaming and people yelling and screaming, and then he starts hearing gunfire, and he realizes something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. And so Devon runs back into the entry of the mine, and there are already people making their way out of the mine, especially some of the people who are not doing well due to the dust flies. So several people are helping them out of the entry of the mine, and Devon, is like, "What's going on?" And somebody yells, "There's a monster in the tunnel! A monster in the tunnel!" And at that point exactly, Devon starts hearing more and more gunfire erupt from the direction of the tunnel where he had exploded those oxygen canisters to destroy the dustfly nest. And so he makes his way deeper into the mine as people begin to evacuate. And as he comes into the last ramp leading into the drill area, the drill indeed has been damaged once again, and standing there next to the drill machine is something ungodly, unreal, terrifying. And this is an eyewitness drawing of the monster. It is called a Hellkite Defender. They don't particularly have a name for it here amongst the colonists. This is the first time they've ever seen anything like this. It had emerged from the collapsed tunnel and broken through the rock wall there, and especially where it had been weakened from Devon's explosion. This is inspired from the Escalate in the Star Wars universe, but I hand drew this, so forgive me if it doesn't look great, but this was a hand sketch I made inspired by the Escalate from Star Wars. It is now part of my Mothership lore. And so the Hellkite Defender is a pretty tough customer. His chitinous skin is very hard to penetrate, even with firearms, but he sees several of the miners have shotguns of different varieties, and they are all standing a little too far away. Obviously they don't want to get close to this thing, but he's pretty much shrugging off all of the attacks so far. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to make one group combat attack for the miners. So let's say there's 4 miners attacking with shotguns. Instead of rolling individually for all of them, I'm going to make a group roll, a D100, and we'll use the Oracle to see if they hit. And if they do hit, then we'll roll damage based on the combat shot. We'll just say 1 combat shotgun attack hit if he does get a hit. If he gets a critical hit, then we'll do we'll roll randomly to see how many of the combat shotguns get a hit. Oh, that's a good idea. We'll do that even with a hit. We'll roll a D4 to see how many combat shotguns get a hit, and then we'll roll the damage for the combat shotguns. Meanwhile, Devon is going to try to move closer to take a shot also with his revolver, knowing probably that it won't do very much damage against this guy. Before he can even get closer, though, this beast reaches down with one of his large crustacean-like claws and picks up the foreman that was so rude to Devon earlier and slices him in half with those claws in a tremendously disgusting display of gore and viscous fluids falling from this foreman as he screams in pain and terror. And so now the miners are going to take their turn, and they are going to roll to attack. And what do they get? 77. What is that on the standard, which would be a 27? Yes, they did get a hit, but hazardous material temptation. So they did get a hit. I'm not going to worry about the yes, but we're going to say how many of the combat shotguns got a hit? One. One combat shotgun got a hit. And so let's take a look at the damage for the combat shotgun. Combat shotgun gets 4d10 damage, and there's 4 shots in each shotgun, and then they have to reload. It does have a special 1d10 at long range or greater. I'm going to say they are all at long range because I had stated that earlier. And so Devon is also now at long range. So now we're all at long range. So instead of a 4d10, he only gets a 1d10. We're gonna roll that guy. 1d10 for damage. They get a 4 damage against the monster. Now I'm going to keep the monster's health secret, but he has a large hit pool. I failed to mention how big he was. He's about the size of an elephant, maybe a little bit bigger than an elephant. So he is quite large, quite tanky, and he does have armor. His chitinous shell is armor, and so one of the 4 miners are shooting, and only one of them looks like he gets a hit, but you can tell that the monster was largely unaffected by the single combat shotgun hit. Now it's the monster's turn. He's going to move closer to the miners to try to attack them. And he's going, since he can't attack from close range, he has to get adjacent with his claws. He's going to do 2 moves basically. He's going to use both of his turn actions to move closer. He is now adjacent to the miners. Devon is not standing next to the miners. He's a little bit off to the left. So let's take a look at the map. So the miners are all kind of here at the entrance. Devon came in and moved to the left to try to get a look inside the tunnel there. So he's a little bit that way. The monster has now moved, and he is adjacent to the miners here in this area. Yeah, they're all in this area here, all crowded up. And now it is Devon's turn. Devon is going to go ahead and make his attack roll. He's going to roll his normal attack. And Devon's combat is a 45. He got a 17. That's a hit. He's going to roll 1d10 for 1d10 plus 1 for his damage. That's 5. He fires another shot off with his revolver, and he can tell that the bullet just ricocheted off the monster's armor. And it looks like at this point, none of their weapons are doing a lot of good against this monster. Now it is the miners' turn. Miners are going to go. I'm going to roll for the miners. Do they get a hit? 67, which is another 27. That's funny. Yes, they got another hit. Or sorry, no, it's 17. Sorry. Do your math, bro. Math is hard. No, they did not get a hit, but they did slow down the monster with all of their gunfire. So he can either move or he can attack next turn. So he is going to choose to attack. The monster is going to roll his attack. He does have a high attack, unfortunately, for the miners. Oof, and that is a hit. He reaches down with his claws and gets ready to do his attack. And he can grapple with the person if he does get an attack. So if he gets a successful attack, which he did. So he reaches down with one of his claws and he gets to do 2d10 damage and it grapples that person. So we're going to go ahead and roll 2d10. That is 7. He does 7 damage to one of the miners. We'll say all the miners have 10 health, 1 wound. So he does 7 damage to that one miner. There are 10 of them, or 4 of them. One of them's down to 7 now, and he's grappled. All right. Now it's Devon's turn. Devon is going to try one more time to shoot the monster. He's going to roll. He got a 52, which is a miss, which increases his stress up to a 7. And with that stressful miss, he's going to also roll a fear save. Well, no, actually, yeah, well, we'll see if he, okay, we'll see. We'll hold that for now. We won't make him do a fear save just yet. He probably should have made a fear save when he saw this thing. In fact, let's go ahead and, yeah, let's do a fear save when he just gets so close to this thing. And it's terribly, terribly frightening. And he got a 45, so he failed his fear save. That's going to increase his stress to an 8, and he's now going to have to roll a panic check. All right, so we're going to roll our panic check. We have to roll a d20, and it has to be higher than our stress. Our stress is currently an 8, so we have to get higher than an 8 with this d20. We got a 5. With a 5, we see he is now turning into a coward. Coward, gain a new condition, coward. You must make a fear save to engage in violence, otherwise you flee. Great. So now Devon is a coward. Let's put that condition down here. For how long? Doesn't say. So we'll have to figure out how to get rid of that coward condition. Maybe it may never leave. So some conditions are so severe that they leave a lasting impression. These are called conditions, and they affect you until you're able to treat them. Okay, so he'll probably have to get some sort of therapy or something to get rid of that cowardice. So now every time he wants to attack this thing, you have to make a fear save or we flee. All right, so now, unfortunately, it is El Monster's turn. The monster... No, it's the miner's turn. The miners get to go next. They're going to go ahead and roll. They got a 57, which is a 7, which I think means a miss. Yes. They miss. In fact, one of them misses so bad that it hits some of the fuel tank on the mining tunneler. And there is an explosion risk, so you can hear fuel hissing from that compressed fuel tank, just spitting fuel out. There is a chance now that it will explode if the right conditions are met. And so that is interesting. That is interesting indeed. Now it is back to the monster's turn. The monster is going to roll. The monster gets a terrible roll, 97. It's not a critical fail, but it is a fail. And so the monster misses his attack. And so he does not get to use... instead of killing the guy he has grappled, he reaches out with his other claw and he swings at one of the other miners and they are able to dodge out of the way. Meanwhile, the guy who's in his claw is just struggling. He's screaming in pain, writhing, trying to escape from that monster's clutches. It is now Devon's turn. Devon is going to try to shoot at the leaking fuel in the mining thing to explode it and hopefully do damage to the monster and not the miners. But it's a risk he's willing to take because he feels like his pistol is not going to do any good against the monster anyway. So he's going to make a roll to fire. A 93, geez, he missed big time. And it's down to 9 shots. Oh, shoot, he has to make a fear save too. 57, which is a fail. And so he now is running away from the combat. So Devon shot. He gained a point of stress. It's up to 9 stress now. And he is now running as well from this area. He is going to have to move past the monster because he was over here in this corner. He's going to have to move past the monster and the miners to escape from this place. So he is now running in fear. Which really they should probably all be running in fear, but they're not. They're all standing there fighting the best that they can. So now it's the miners' turn again. They're going to roll to attack. They got a 5. That is a miss. 5 is a miss. Yes. Tight gap proximity. So they shoot, and then they all start trying to back up through the tunnel as well. The monster is still hanging on to that one miner, and he's going to make his roll to attack to see if he succeeds. He is successful in his attack. And I'm going to roll a yes or no. Does he try to attack Devon, or does he try to kill the miner in his claws? Yes is Devon, no is the miner in his claws. 27 is a yes. So he does, instead of attacking the miner in his claws, he does attack Devon. Devon is going to get attacked by 2d10. Ooh, 10 points. Holy cow. As he's running past to try to make it up the tunnel, the beast reaches out with his other claw and snaps up Devon's body with his claw. Now, it was a no butt, so we will say that it does not get to grapple him, but it does do 10 points of damage to Devon, which was already down to 13, which is not good. And it did ruin his armor and his clothes as well. It did take out 1 point of damage. So we'll say that is now 0. And his health is now reduced by 9 instead of 10, which, it's better than nothing. But he is definitely severely hurt by that attack. Even though he didn't get to grapple him, he did get hit and is severely wounded. Or not severely wounded, but he's definitely deeply hurt from the strike from that guy's claws. So now it is the miners' turn. They are now at short range instead of adjacent. So they are out of the line of fire of his claws. They're going to roll, and they get a 58, which is a 58 minus 50 is an 8. So that is a no. They miss once again. It says it's not a no, but I was going to say light fire, I could say they do ignite the tunneler, but if it was a no but, I would say yes, but it's just a straight no. So they miss once again. And so they're going to go ahead and back up one more time. So now they are at long range. All right, so now it is the monster's turn. No, it's Devon's turn. Devon is going to, he's not going to try to fight. He's just going to run both of his turns. So he's now at long range along with the miners. And the monster is going to go ahead and attack the guy in his claws. I guess I don't really need to attack to kill the guy in his claw, do I? I can remove an organ, I think, without attacking. So he's gonna go ahead and use one of his actions to remove an organ with his adjacent claw. He's gonna reach down and do terrible things to this miner in his claws. He's gonna reach in through his back and rips out the kidney of this writhing monster, and he just kind of tosses it up and then catches it like a dog catching a piece of popcorn. He throws the kidney up and then reaches out, snags it out of the air and swallows it. And he looks a little too gleeful, like perhaps he's a little more sentient than he's given credit for. And then he goes ahead and moves so that he is now in close range up to the miners and Devon. And so now it is the miners' turn once again. They are going to attack. They are at close range. They got a 23. And a 23 is a no but. They do miss, but they trip also. In addition to missing, while they're backing up trying to shoot to get to back to long range again, they trip or stumble or bump into one another and are unable to get further away from the monster. Devon is going to do both of his moves as a run, so he's now at long range again. And in addition to that, he has made it past the tunnel and through the equipment, or into the equipment area. He's going to go and start looking in the equipment to see if he can find a better weapon to use against this terrible, terrible beast that is attacking them. And now it is the beast's turn. He is going to toss the miner, who is now dead, aside. The removal of his kidney caused him to bleed out, basically. And so now he's going to move closer to the miners once again. And he's going to make another attack. He got a 71, which is a miss. He reaches out to snap one up with his claws, but at the same time, the miner kind of just tries to jump to the side, but he stumbles, and he is now prone. And but he's at least safe from the monster. Now it is the miners' turns again. They are going to make their attack. Ooh, a 19. That sounds like maybe a hit. 19 is no. They miss, but they are all able to scramble out and up the tunnel. And so now they all are indeed into the equipment area as well. And they are at long range once again. Now it's Devon's turn. He's going to search through the equipment. Can Devon find a weapon to use that would be effective against this monster? He does a search. He gets a 32. A 32 is a yes, but gas storage risk. Ooh. Gas storage. Okay, so he finds another oxygen tank, just like he used against the Dustfly nest. And he is going to go ahead and open it up so that it is spewing oxygen out. and he is going, well, he's not going to open it up yet. He's going to move back into position so that next turn he can roll it down towards the beast and see if he can explode it and do some damage to the monster. All right, so now it is the monster's turn once again. He is going to move up to adjacent to the miners, and he's going to make an attack. And he got a 33, which is a hit. He's going to reach out with one of his claws, and he gets a 2d10. He got a 12. Oh, he grabs one of the miners and basically cuts him in half with his attack. And the guy is no more. He is completely obliterated by this monster's attack. And the other two are going to roll a panic save. We'll give them a generic 30 to meet, and they did succeed against that. So they stand their ground and continue the battle. So now it is the miner's turn once again. I better write this down because I feel like I keep changing the order. It's miner, Devon, then monster. Okay, I better write that down. All right, so now it's Devon's turn. So Devon is going to roll this oxygen tank. He opens it up, rolls it towards the beast, and he's going to take a shot at it when it rolls down at the monster's feet. So Devon's going to make a combat roll. 27, success. He takes a shot. Oh, I got to roll a fear save as well. Oh, come on, Devon. 67, fail. Dang it. So he... Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna allow him to shoot, but he's gonna have to panic again and have a second panic, unfortunately. Or he's gonna have to run. So he does get another stress for his fear save, increasing his stress to 10. His ammo has been decreased down to 8, but he does ignite it at least with his shot, and the oxygen container explodes in a tremendous explosion. All right, and so the explosion from this gas canister is going to do 2d10 damage, or the monster can make a body save to avoid it. So we're going to allow the monster to make a body save first. And he got an 87, which is a fail in his body save. So he is not able to avoid the explosion. The explosion is going to go to 2d10 damage, which is an 11. That's great. That does some damage to him. Fantastic. All right. But not as much as you would think. But it looks like, at least from the explosion, that his chitinous shell has been damaged to the point where if we do get hits with our firearms, perhaps it will now do a little more damage than it has been doing previously. So I think it has at least destroyed his armor, which is fantastic. All right. So that was Devon's turn, and he's going to use the rest of his turn to flee up towards the storage part of the... he was going to stop and keep looking for more weapons, but of course he had to flee because he's a coward. So now it is the monster's turn. He is going to make another attack on the last two miners. He is angered, severely angered. He gets a 10, which is a hit, and he's going to roll 2d10 damage. And that is a 10. He reaches out once again and completely removes one of the miners' heads from his body, who drops to the ground, blood and gore spurting everywhere, down to one final guy. That last guy, now it's his turn. He's going to make a panic check to see if he runs. We will we will use the same, we'll use Devon's stats to do his panic check. Well, it's a fear check, so he has to roll better than 32, and he gets an 11. So he is determined now to continue the fight, but he is going to run backwards 1. That puts him at close range. He's going to attack with his shotgun. That is a 39, which is a hit, I think. Yes, it is a hit. Ooh, navigation guidance. Oh, he gets a shot. And he hits the monster directly, like he shoots right at his face. And so he's going to be able to get a hit here. And he's at close range as well, so he gets to do the full 4d10 damage of the shotgun. Combat shotgun at close range does 4d10 damage. So he gets to do the full 4d10 damage. And we'll roll to see, roll a body save and see if the monster gets blinded by this attack. So we're going to go 4d10s. We'll roll off 4. That is a total of 23 damage to this monster. Holy cow, that hurt the monster really badly. He is really hurt, but he is still combat effective. Devon is now at long range still, and Devon is probably near the tunnel for the storage. And so we're going to go ahead and run back down here to this area. The monster and the miner are here in this area. They're in the beginning of the equipment. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll one more time to see if we can find another weapon to use. Or I could shoot my revolver. You kind of have to be at close range to get a hit with it. I could shoot with a disadvantage, I guess, but let's just roll and see if I can find anything. That will be a 15. I think that's a no. 15 is a no, but we do find some foodstuffs. I am not going to take the time to take the foodstuffs from the equipment storage area. All right. So now it is the monster's turn. Once again, he's going to roll to attack. He gets a 22. That's a hit. This is going to be it for the last miner, I'm sure. Yes, 36. The monster completely obliterates the last guy. Now all that's left is the blood and gore and 4 combat shotguns. And so he's going to take his other action to move closer to Devon. He's now at close range. It's now Devon's turn. Devon is just going to make 2. He's just going to make a run for it. And so he's going to move twice. That's going to put him into the entrance section of the mine. So the storage section of the mine. So he's moved into the storage section. The monster also is going to move twice. We'll roll and see if he can catch up to Devon. So if he passes his speed check, then he will get to close range to Devon instead of the long range. So right now he's at long range towards Devon. We'll roll. Does he get his save? That is a 6. Yes, he is now at close range towards Devon. He is caught up. Okay, Devon is at close range. He can fire if he passes a fear check. Can you pass a fear check? 62. No. Fail. Stress. Increase. Up to 11 now. Oh. And he doesn't get to attack. He's going to flee in panic. He rolls twice. He moves twice. He's back at long range. He's made it across the storage. He's now in the tunnel area into the entry. The monster's going to move as well. He's going to roll his speed check to see if he catches him. He does. He's back up to close range again. So he's about midway through the storage area. And now it is Devon's turn. Devon's going to try to roll a fear save to see if he can attack. No, he fails. Stress once again increases to 12. He's really stressed out. And he starts yelling as he's running out, "Get out of here! Get out of here!" And he runs up the tunnel, and he is at the beginning of the entryway here, and he can see that almost everybody has evacuated except for some of the wounded people. And so he's moving up into that area as well, hopefully to get out of here. The monster is going to try to move twice to catch Devon. He's going to make a save, and that is a success. He catches up to Devon. He is now at close range once again. He too is at the entrance of the tunnel, and next turn, if Devon can't get out of here, he is going to have to get an attack from the monster. So Devon now is not going to try to attack. He's just going to make both of his moves to try to get out of there. So he's back at long range from the he's about midway through the entryway, and the monster is hot on his heels. Monster catches him once again. He is at close range, or he had to move twice, so he's adjacent, but he can't attack because he had to move twice. But he is adjacent to Devon, so even if Devon gets a successful move next time, he'll only be at close range instead of far, and he'll have to get an attack from the enemy, unfortunately. So what to do? Devon's going to just kind of keep running. I mean, there's no way he can damage this thing, in such a way that that he's going to be able to get away. But I want to give him a chance to make a speed check. So if he makes a speed check, he'll be able to make it out of the entrance of the mine. Speed is 53. He failed, so it takes another stress. He makes it the long range, but the monster can also move if he passes his speed check. He's now at 13 stress. Very, very bad situation going on here. The monster is going to roll his speed check. He failed. So he is now at close range. Devon is going to run once again. He's not going to stop for nothing. And he is going to make it out of the mine and make his way towards the train there. So he's going to go ahead and run out, and there are still people loading into the train. They're all queued up, pushing their way, shoving, screaming, trying to get into the train all at the same time. Devon is making his way towards the train. Now it's the monster's turn once again. Is the monster going to get distracted by some of the wounded people in the mine? 63, which is a 13. No, he doesn't attack any of the wounded people, but he does get distracted by some of the built habitations in there. So he moves up towards some of these little habs that are in the mine where the workers sleep. He goes up in there and he just starts smashing into those mine habitation things, trying to basically just do as much damage as he possibly can. Meanwhile, it's Devon's turn once again. He's in the train, or he's at the train. He's going to go ahead and get on board the train with everybody else. The train is packed, and Devon starts screaming, "Let's go, let's go, let's go!" And the train pulls away from the station, and just as it does, the monster comes barging out of the tunnel of the mine and lets out a screech of frustration and anger as the train speeds away into the distance, leaving the monster and the mine far behind. And everyone on the train collectively sighs a sigh of, are we out of danger or what? But they don't know, but they think they are at least temporarily out of danger. And man, was that incredibly intense. Wow. So Devon is completely stressed out. He has lost his armor from his work attire. It's complete. His Hasmos coveralls are completely shredded. He's got some pretty severe bruising and some lacerations on his body from the claws. He's not in a good way. He collapses to the floor of the train, and he looks around, and the miners are all packed in here, and they're crying. Some of them are crying, and there's some kids in here, and they're crying. Some of the men are crying, and the women are stoic, and it's just a bitter, bitter escape in the train as they speed toward the station. After a few minutes, Devon is able to collect himself, and he's going to go up to the engine compartment of the train, and he's going to try to utilize the train's comm system to see if he can call on ahead to the station and see if he can get patched in to Cade Zachary, or just see if there's a ship available at the station that can take all these people up into orbit, because he is pretty confident that that monster is not going to just stop, that it's going to continue to follow the train all of the way to the station. Even though it's several hundred kilometers away, it's going to be a few hours train ride. He's pretty confident that the monster is hell-bent on doing more damage. And so he go ahead and make a intellect save with the mechanical repair or industrial equipment. Not mechanical repair, because it's not repairing anything. He'll use industrial equipment with his intellect to see if we can make a jury rig, basically the comm system, to make a call to the station, because it's all supposed to be automated. Oh, a 00. That's a critical success. So he turns the knobs and until he finally can get a clear signal, and he knows that it's going to be broadcast, and it will be chained through the comms of the station to be broadcast out to space as well. So hopefully Cade Zachary also will be able to get this message. But basically he's like, "This is Devon Valentine. They're at the Cerberus Mine. There is a beast that is destroying the place and killing multiple people. It's unstoppable. We need help. We need someone to help. Please, anyone, if you can hear this broadcast, come to the Cerberus station. Evacuate all of the wounded. Bring help. Bring Marines. Bring anything you can. We need help now." And he hears over the intercom a woman's voice, and she says, "This is Captain Matthias of the Hasmos Security Forces. I am here in the White Worm. How can we be of assistance to you?" Yes, Captain Matthias, this is Devon Valentine. I'm a Hasmos employee. I am on the Cerberus Mine. I'm at the Cerberus Mine on Aria, and there is a rampaging beast who is killing Hasmos miners here. We need your assistance. Stat, we have lots of wounded, lots of sick people, and we need evacuation from the Hasmos Cerberus station on Aria as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Valentine. This is Captain Matthias. We will make our way en route now. We should be there in the orbit of the planet in approximately 4 hours. Hang tight, and we will see you at that time. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your help. We will see you hopefully in 4 hours. And so the train, he looks at the train's indicator. There's a little train map showing its progress towards its objective. And he can see that it will take approximately 3 hours for them to get to the station. And so they will get there to the station, and then they can get everybody out and unloaded and get them ready to go into the landing pad and start getting evacuated. And there may be some ships they can utilize to get into orbit as well from the landing pad once they get there, even before the white worm arrives in orbit. All right, I'm going to roll a d6, and that will tell me how many hours it will take for the monster. Actually, I'll roll a d10. Now, d10's a little much. I'll go d8, and we'll see how long it's going to take the monster to reach from, because we don't know if how quick it can run, and maybe it's really fast. Maybe it can fly. Maybe it can burrow. We don't know. But we do know that it is going to take the monster 2 hours. What? That's not right. 2 additional hours, we'll say. It'll get there 2 hours after we arrive. It'll get there 2 hours after we arrive. And so we'll basically be cutting it very, very close for whenever we arrive at the station. And so the train pulls up to the station after several hours, and Devon and everyone else starts unloading and helping to get the wounded unloaded and moved. There are several drop ships on the landing pad, and each drop ship can hold 12 people. There are no freighters or anything there, unfortunately. There's 4 drop ships. All 4 drop ships can hold 12 people. That's more than enough to get the remaining survivors, or only 36 people, including Devon, into the drop ships. So they all get in there. Several people are capable of rudimentarily flying a drop ship. Devon is not a pilot, but he is familiar enough with the controls. He thinks he can get it up into the air of one of the drop ships. So they all are loading into the drop ships and get ready to take off. And one of the miners is on the top of the station with some binoculars, and he yells out, "I can see the monster. It's on its way. It'll be here in a couple of hours." And they all know that they barely made it. That's going to be it for this episode of Mothership Solo Play Hell Train. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure and hit that like button, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.